Hello and good morning. My name is Jalil McDaniels and I'll be presenting the LA riots today. Thank you for listening. Okay, to start, my thesis statement. The LA riots represents a collective failure on the part of government, media, and also the people. Events like the LA riots can only occur when people totally disregard the sixth grade ideals. And for the trouble, for 5 days, the interior of the city will be burned, looted, and destroyed. And this resulted in a city with 63 dead, 2,303 injured, and also billions of dollars in property damage. So uh, the first wave of failure comes from the media, as usual. News media provided the tinder for explosion which resulted in the riots. Leading up to the riots, the media emphasized a black and Korean conflict, as they coined it, and then responsibly reported upon many court cases involving blacks and Koreans all around the United States. Examples include Latasha Harlan's in South Central, and also the Red Apple Market in New York. The media also did not bother to report on years of efforts between black and Korean community leaders to mend ties between the two communities. And lastly, the powder keg which erupted into the riots, the Rodney King trial, was also incorrectly reported by the media. The media did not show video leading up to his beating, such as the police chase, which was drug induced, and also his attacking the officers and resisting arrest. Next, the real tragedy, I think, is the looting. Once the riot began, widespread looting, arson, and assault was prevalent in Los Angeles. Local businesses were completely destroyed by opportunistic criminals, and businesses owned by Koreans especially were targeted for destruction. Years of labor and investment by fellow citizens were destroyed, and the authorities did not lift a finger to help. The widespread death, assault, and disorder during the riots are the fault of the citizenry and no one else. The populace failed to uphold their own virtues, and they harmed their fellow citizens. And lastly, the third leg, the abandonment of the people by agents of the state. The state failed to uphold order in Los Angeles, the second largest city in the country, and handed the streets to a criminal mob. Business owners were left to fend for themselves and protect their own property under arms, and the Korean community was especially vulnerable to attack, sometimes even with physical violence involving firearms. But the police refused to help them, even arresting some community leaders, both in the Korean and other communities, who had firearms. But the National Guard and Police Department did, however, defend wealthier suburbs on the outskirts of the city. In short, the agents of the state failed to uphold their own duty to their citizens who are owed their protection. The LA riots was an abject failure on the part of the state and showcases how authorities have skewed priorities, to put it lightly. And this presentation, of course, connects to the six great ideas. The conditions for the riots can only occur when truth, justice, beauty, goodness, and freedom are entirely disregarded by the masses. And first, the media. The misrepresentation of the media distorts truth and impedes justice by attempting to try people by public opinion rather than by a jury of their own peers in a court. And the looting committed by the citizens suspends justice, destroys the beauty of a community, and destroys the goodness of the people. The disorder of a mob physically destroys the neighborhood while also fostering resentment and enmity between different communities in the city. The abandonment of citizens in danger areas by the state is also an abject failure and represents a break of social contract between the state and the people. And riots such as the LA riots only occur when these ideas which make up the bedrock of the West are eroded. These ideas have been identified by Adler as important for good reason. If these ideas are not acted out by the populace, a civilized society will swiftly descend into barbarism every time. And I know it must be included, so I will. Counterarguments. One counterargument can be racial tension and economic recession and poverty were important aspects of why the riots occurred. However, I would say regardless of the surrounding landscape, it is still up to the individual to do what he or she believes is right. Each person can choose between good and evil, and those involved in rioting and looting choose a decision which disregards beauty, truth, and justice, and in the long run damages the republic. Likewise, the state, regardless of circumstance, has a duty to protect people who put their faith in them. However, it could be argued that a perimeter around danger areas were set by police so that the riot can be contained to only troublesome areas. The containment of a riot is a good idea, but the behavior of the police seems to favor the accusation that social status and wealth mattered more than actual safety of the city. And also, the affected areas should have received more help, regardless of the situation, while at the same time setting a perimeter to protect the rest of the city. And lastly, conclusion. Riots like the LA riot only occurs when society chooses to collectively disregard their own moral conscience and the things that make our civilization so great. Similarly, riots in Ferguson and Baltimore provide another flashpoint, an example of collective failure by the government, media, and people once again. To avoid a perpetual cycle of occasional unrest and explosion of tensions, we as a society must act in our own daily lives to uphold these six great ideas. Thank you very much.